in it, and it started right up and ran fine. And the only reason they got towed is because the cop wouldn't let him drive it off, which I thought was stupid. And the only damage it really did was it's a Crown Victoria, so the front grill is gone, and it's smashed in the hood, so we can't open the hood yet. And the left tail light, like since the grill was gone, the left tail light is kind of it just sits on the front, like with a corner, like the left corner. You know what I mean? So it's only really connected to the car by that side, not by the grill. And so what had happened was that broke off. So the headlight is actually laying sideways, which I told my sister that's an easy fix, especially with the way and where it is. You can get some quick steel, put it on there, rub it, and it'll harden and it'll stay. And all he needs to do is get the actual wire. Because you know how like on the Monty, if you replace the headlight, it's literally like plugging something into the wall. You just unscrew it, and it has that little node, and you pop it out, and put the new one in there, plug it in, and just screw the headlight in. And all he needs is a new wire that runs from that plug-in into the headlight. Because the headlight's fine. It's just that the power and the bulb's burnt out, and the little length of that is maybe like the length of a regular pair of headphones. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's not even that hard. And I told my sister he should go to pick and pull, or I told her I said take me to pick and pull because he's kind of he hasn't been he's slow on doing things. He doesn't do it when he should, and he, he needs that, which is a small piece, and he'd save a shit ton of money going to pick and pull and just popping the hood, unplugging the light, and that's it. Because we don't even have to pop the hood on his to put the light back in there since the grill's completely broken off. You
Yeah.
can just stick your hand in the front of it and then do it. And plus, he needs new rotors and brake pads on the front of his car. And he told me that if I help him do it, he'll help pay for half my battery. So,
Dude, that's not even that hard.
yeah, I know.
That's
So,
pretty rad.
like I said, it's kind of a bittersweet thing. Like the money I was going to use to fix my car, I had to go help them, which was fine. I can't really complain, Anthony. I'm inside. You know what I mean? I'm not having to deal with the heat. And the bitter thing is, my car's just sitting there, and I don't like that. Ever since I let the Monty sit for so long, I don't like letting my car sit, even if it's not even hurting it. I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, time out, man. You like turn your camera off or something?
Let me figure out how to. Why can you see me still?
Nah, I just see like your default. I mean, I don't have a webcam, but I mean, we could at least get you on there, you know?
Oh, you want to turn my face on? I don't want my face on if your face isn't gonna be on.
All right, man. Well, I guess that's fair. you know, no, no, no. I mean, that makes sense. You know, I'm just trying to like make it more animated, you know, because right now it's just like kind of a still screen. But whatever, you know.
Well, let me see if I can. I don't know. It usually it did it by itself when yours was on. So
Oh, okay.
I have to mess with it to figure out how to do it because I've never done this.
Don't
You know what I mean?
don't don't worry about it then, man. I'm just trying to like get like the fucking theatrics kind of like you know kind of smooth over. But like I said, once again, I'm kind of new at this, you know, kind of noobish. So I mean, of course, it's gonna come off like start off kind of noobish, you know. But you know what? I'm pretty sure eventually this show will evolve into something like pretty like halfway decent, like most things usually do,
Yeah.
theoretically and or ideally anyway. And we'll look back on these like old school streams and then just kind of like laugh about it. But you know, at the same time, this will probably be like some of the better material. You know,
Yeah.
just because there is more of an authenticity to it. You know, it's like it's revealing like I said like kind of like noobishness, but at the same time it's like you know it's like whenever a really good band first starts out, you know, it's like you're either there or you're not, and then usually by the time you know who they are, it's like you're already looking back on that moment and you're like, dang, I wish I could have been there or whatever, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, you know, whatever, man. We just have it like this for now. I'm definitely gonna have to invest in a webcam because like I really want to take this up to like tier two.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. See, that's another thing though. Me being here with access to a laptop kind of makes it a little better for us to, you know what I mean, do this anyways. I mean, it works well when we're in the same room too, but you know what I mean. It kind of gives us more options once we figure those out.
Yeah.
Once we use them all.
Well, right now, I think what would like remedy at least like most of the problem would be for me to get a webcam on my desktop. Because I am using a desktop right now. So,
Yeah, I am too. That's what though I prefer using the desktop a lot, especially when it comes to things like Facebook, because all the options are there, and it's a lot easier to navigate. And I don't know.
yeah, no, I hear that, dude. What you call it? Well, anyway, man. I guess tell me more about It sucks because when you were telling me more about your car and your guitar, like I hadn't quite like started the stream yet, man. And that was actually pretty like that was all right, but maybe we'll touch back on it, but I guess we'll move along.
Well, the
Like
one topic we were looking at last time, I think, was horror movies and uh, Easter eggs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I catch those all the time now, dude. Like, what was it I was just watching? Oh yeah, I was finishing up the last season of Supernatural on Netflix, and I like Supernatural, but I only ever watch it on Netflix. And that chick who's in there, there's a girl in there who they saved in previous episodes, and she's a hunt. She basically becomes a hunter, but she's a kid. But anyways, she gets a phone call and she reaches into her car to grab it, and she very quickly moves a comic book aside to get to her phone. But it does it so fast you can't see. So I went back, slowed it down and paused it, and it's a Batgirl. And I heard that they were bringing in, Batgirl soon, and it makes me wonder if she wouldn't play Batgirl because she fits the role, even her character in Supernatural. You know what I mean? And Supernatural has a lot of Easter eggs, man. Like just in general for all kinds of stuff. Even the titles of their fucking episodes, are like a play on something or a tribute. Like this one's kind of weak, but this was the last one I remember seeing. It was the girl with the Dungeons and Dragons tattoo. Oh, like the name of the thing will be on a play on words like that, for either a title of a song or a movie or a quote from something that everybody knows. And
yeah,
I still want to make a movie that would be like my Clerks. I'd call it Quoters. So it would be kind of like the way Clerks was and Fanboys. Did you ever watch that movie Fanboys?
no, man. I saw the previews for it. I've been wanting to kind of watch it, but I've never got a chance to like really check it out.
Well, you know what it is their friend's dying, and they wanted to sneak him into Lucas Ranch to get a sneak peek at episode one because he's not going to live, long enough for it to be released. And the funny thing is, they actually ended up doing that for a real person when The Force Awakens came out. I remember reading some kid like that was his dying wish was to watch that before he died, so they let him see it before everyone else.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, man. I think I heard something about that. That something about a cancer patient or whatever. Uh, I mean, that's what you were pretty much just talking about. And they actually did show it to him, and I think he died like a week later. I mean, it really wasn't that long afterwards.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy shit, dude. Um,
Are you got us right now, right? Recording.
yeah, we are totally on air, dude. I'm live streaming to my YouTube account right now.
Sweet.
But I guess no. So fanboys, didn't that come out in like early 2000s or some shit?
No, it actually came out way after the release of episode one. It just didn't get that much credit, which I thought it should. They had a decent amount of characters in there. I mean, the one of the main guys, I can't remember his name, but he's a stand-up comedian. I've seen him in some stuff, and the only other movie I remember him in is Balls of Fury. I don't know if you ever watched that, where he was a ping pong champion player when he was a kid, and as he got older, he kind of like didn't really wash up. He just like lost love for the sport or whatever, and he was basically just doing tricks for money. Like doing ping pong shows for money.
Yeah.
And this he goes to this Chinese dude who's blind, which is what's his name, dude? The main Chinese bad guy in Big Trouble in Little China, who plays a
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's always playing cameos and shit.
yeah,
Lopan.
yeah. He the guy who plays Lopan, and he's blind, and he is teaching him how to get better. It's a comedy, but yeah. Anyways, he's in Fanboys, and the kid from oh man, I can't think of anything else that he starred in besides The Apprentice. Did you ever watch the the Magician's Apprentice with Nicolas Cage?
I the Sorcerer's Apprentice or whatever.
Yeah, there you go, Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, I saw it like once. It was okay, but it was kind of like cheesy too.
Well, that kid who is in there is also in Fanboys, and the chick from Veronica Mars, is it her from Veronica
What,
Mars?
Kristen Bell?
Yeah, I think she's in it too, but she wears a black wig. She looks way hotter with black hair. But
Of course, you would think that. You got a thing for them goth chicks, dude. But I mean,
you're right.
I guess I'm one to talk, you know. I mean, no, man, I'm gonna have to check it out, dude. It's been kind of on my list for going on a decade now. I want to say,
Well,
do
you
what?
need to check. I said you need to check out this Magic game, dude. It's like super fun, and you only have 10 cards to the deck, but you draw that card more than once, and it incorporates the puzzle quest. Basically like uh that standard one, I guess, would be Candy Crush. Where you have to match up colors and stuff.
Yeah,
But on this, it's matching up mana, and they just released an update last night that adds a whole bunch of new features. Like ingest works so much differently. Like when ingest on this is when you deal damage, whatever its ingest power is, it will turn one of the enemy's mana colors on the board to colorless. And there are some cards that you have to play the colorless to get to play the actual card itself. So basically, it's a whole comboing system. That's why I love this, because I love playing combos in Magic, and with only 10 cards and a certain number of spells and supports, you can play that'll feed off each other. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I only have 6 creatures in my deck, and a lot of my other cards are there to help them. Like kind of like my go-to card if I get screwed or if I think I'm dying, that gives me a second chance. Is it's called Nissan's Revelation, and when I play it, I draw 5 cards and gain 20 life. So, and your life goes up as your character levels up, or your planeswalker levels up. And when you master cards, whatever match you get, it'll get like an extra bonus from certain colors. And then your planeswalker does that too. Like once you level it up so much, getting more mana per matches. When you're playing puzzle quest games, you can. It's really hard to get a match of 4 or more. Do you know what I mean? So that's how landfall works. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay. Well, that's how landfall works on here too. Like, you remember landfall in the actual card game is you'd have whenever you play a land that's of that color, it gets landfall. But the way landfall works in this, since it's not always so easy to get the color type you need, it's landfall works when you match four of the same color. So it's pretty different, interesting. I like it because, like I said, there's a lot more strategy in it because you have to combo your cards. I mean, only getting fucking 10 cards in your deck to use means you have to choose wisely, but that also helps you combo really good.
Yeah, man, that actually kind of reminds me of like it sounds a little closer to Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, that's how Yu-Gi-Oh kind of felt on some of its old games. I don't know if you were into that. I mean, I kind of like had a phase where I was into it for like about admittedly maybe a couple years, but they had a game a lot like that where it was very combo driven. You know, it was less about the creatures and more about like what kind of spells you had on hand and traps and everything. But
Yeah, that's actually kind of how this works because technically in Magic everything is a spell,
right.
but in this you only have creatures, what's considered creatures, spells, and supports. And the cool thing about it though is when you play spells or support cards, they stay on the battlefield. Like they'll turn into a gem, and that gem will have a shield, say like two or three, which means you have to use that in a combo two or three times to break that seal, which then destroys their either support card or possibly one of their spell cards. Because there's few spell cards that stay out on the board. What really stays out on the board are the support.
Okay. So yeah, it definitely sounds like sort of like a modified version of the game to where it's more, I guess, it's more friendly to like the non-player, the layman, that's like maybe has like a slight interest in the game and just wants to bullshit with it. It seems like a kind of like a bait, like some bait. Like, hey, if you like this game, why don't you try the actual, TCG?
Yeah, but what also makes this one that separates them, that makes it cool, is all the abilities. Because I mean, dude, there's so many abilities. They have the flip. Obviously, there's flip cards. They have the flying. They have like I told you, things like ingest and fabricator work differently on here because they mostly affect the gems at the bottom of the screen, because the top of the screen shows your health, how many cards you have in your hand, how many cards your opponent has, and your creatures. And then the very bottom half is, red mana, blue mana, green mana, and the planeswalker symbol, because each planeswalker has certain abilities and you have to power that up to do it. Like right now, I stayed with the basic that I got. I hadn't spent any of my actual gold on here to buy a new one because I've been using it to buy booster packs. But she has three abilities, and her first one I have to have 9 points, and it's at level 3. And what I do is I draw one card, gain 3 mana, and convert 3 gems on the board to green. So basically, what that does is when you gain mana, like some cards will let you gain mana, or like you do this and it adds 3 mana, say to your mana pool. Well, it'll put that mana into the first creature you have in your hand. So you can adjust your hands too. Like you can change the order they're in depending on if you get a big combo and play multiple cards, or like I said, since that new thing they put in here with ingest, and some cards have abilities, but it's weird. You have to like, okay, say if you have a card that does two things, basically I would say it's the kicker version, because when you play a card with kick, you have to pay so much to play it, and then pay more for its kick cost, and it does something. And that's kind of how the way some of these are. You have to disable the card when you have it in your hand, which means that, say if it costs 6 to cast, but you need to put 4 mana into it, basically like its kicker. You have to disable it so that once you put all 6 cards and all 6 mana in it to play it, it doesn't play it automatically in your hand. You save it, and then once you pay its kicker cost, then you can reactivate it and it'll play out the way it's supposed to. So you know what I mean. That's why I really like this one. It's so different. Like it's different than any other Puzzle Quest game I played, and plus it's Magic. And doing that concept with Magic is I've noticed they do some ridiculous shit on here, man. I mean, you can like just totally dominate the board and break all the gems and play multiple cards, or like I've even seen some stuff on here that I wish I could try, but there when you only have one planeswalker, it only lets you play certain cards from certain sets. So
You know what? Now that you mention it, it sounds a little bit like Hearthstone actually.
it kind of is, but you know what? I kind of like Hearthstone is more like slow. I don't want to say it's worse than Magic because I play it and it's fun too, but it's just a more faster pace. You know what I mean? Hearthstone is a lot more faster play, and you know where you as you're playing maybe only one or two creatures per turn, and on here you can play multiple creatures at once, but you got to have those good supports and those good combos, and it gives you a limit to how many supports you can have in your deck and how many uh, magic spells. So like right now, I think since I leveled her up so much, I can have 10 creatures in there. No, not 10 creatures. No, yeah, I think it was 10 creatures. Uh, two two spells and two supports. But you have to remember that I can only have a total of 10 cards. So once I put, say, if I put four magic spells in there, well, that's four less slots for me to put creatures or support cards in there. So that's why I like it because that means you gotta really use your combo as well. So there are some cards when you play it, it energizes gems on the board, and some cards to activate their ability, you have to destroy so many activated gems. Say like there's one on here that when I play it, it charges three random gems on the board. So they might be close together, they might be not. But then when I get a combo with one of those charged blocks, and then my card on the field says, convert or whatever one, and that you know I get it. It goes towards it because I get one of those charged shells, and it activates the card, which will then do like one damage to the opponent, or gain one to defense till end of turn. So I mean, just the comboing system in this game alone is ridiculous, and there's so many sets on here already. I have difficulty trying to figure out what cards I should keep in the deck and then which ones I shouldn't, because technically I'm still a newbie in this. So, and I'm still learning new things all the time.
Yeah, what's your choice of colors?
Everything, mostly, like I
So
guess to make it mostly when I say for beginners is there's really only one single color. Now they do have multiple color planeswalkers that you can use, but look, I've looked at those and it's like, man, to even play those, you really need to have a shit ton of cards to pick from, and you got to really have experience in figuring out what works best to play with one another because like I said, I'm solid green, so I get an extra 2 mana uh when I get any matching, green mana gems. So if I move it and I match 3 mana gems, I get an extra two, so that gives me 6 mana that it adds to the first card in my deck. And then I have other cards that add mana to the next creature in my hand. So that's been my strategy. I've been doing a lot. I use my elf in here. He's only a 2/2, but when I play him, he adds 3 mana to my next creature in my hand. So basically, say he costs 7 to play, and then I want to play a higher card that I really want, and it costs 12. Well, if I combo it right, I can end up almost fully having the next card paid for to come out, to where at least by my next turn I'll get it. Because I even have support cards in here that'll add 3 mana or even just 2 mana to my mana pool at the beginning of the turn. And so your mana pool doesn't just sit there and go to waste, it automatically starts feeding into your cards.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so you've been running green, huh? What you call it? Do you have the green planeswalker? Are you running like Nissa or something?
Yeah, Nissa's who I got.
Okay.
See, and her first ability is level 3. And like I said, it's draw one card, gain 3 mana, and convert 3 gems to green. And what you can do is you can use your Planeswalker's ability before you make a move. It's kind of like, okay, you can set your hand, you can discard a card if you want. I believe you can. The cycling, I'm a little confused on because, in regular cycling, it's basically like discarding the card but it goes to the bottom of your deck or whatever, and then you pick up a new card. But cycling on here works so differently. Like I remember in Magic, there are some cards when you discard it, it automatically counts as cycling, so that activates the cycling ability. But that's not how it works on here. You have to actually have like mana and other special gems on the board for cycling to work.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I remember in even some of the old cycling cards, there'd be like a a cost to cycle it too, like maybe one or two colorless on some of them. But
Yeah,
it just really depends, cycling and then like variable, could be zero, one, two, etc.
well, that's the thing that's why it's so ingenious for there to only be 10 cards in your deck, because since you play like that, and even though you may only have 10 cards in your deck, that doesn't mean say like you have a really good card that you like a rare card that you want to count on. Just just because you have it in your deck doesn't mean you can only draw it once. You can draw it. I don't even know. I'm guessing maybe you can draw it up to 4 times, because sometimes I'll have three of the same card in my hand.
Okay, so I guess that's to emphasize like the combo aspect of it. Like it's really like it's setting a palette for abusing combos and really showcasing them and building
Yeah,
decks around them. Like, cool.
yeah. And her second ability is Nature's Gift, which each of your creatures gains 4/4 until the end of turn. And her last one is Nature's Growth, where it converts 15 gems to green. So say I know there's a lot of good green on the board and I have that ability. Well, basically once you make your match, that's you finishing your hand. So say you make a match of 3, then it finishes up everything. Like your creatures then will attack, and any abilities that will be played or cards that will be played then get played. So matching it is kind of like your final step and everything.
Yeah. Man, dude,
Well, I know I've been talking a lot, but the other thing I wanted to say that's actually really important that makes it even cooler is, like I said, just because you only have one of that card in your deck doesn't mean you can't draw it more than once, and you can. And when you play the creature, they stack on top of one another because you only have room to have three. You only have room to have three creatures out on play. So, say I draw that 2/2 elf twice and I play him twice, then he just becomes a 4/4. But it still counts as playing two creatures. So the only thing I'm not sure of, because I just got cards like this, is the X. Where it's this creature gets XX, where X is the amount of creatures in play. I don't know if that's gonna count it as in the maximum, which would be 3, or if it actually counts the other cards that are stacked on one another. You know what I mean? So, like, say the cards that give you token, summon two 1/1 elves. Well, when you summon those two 1/1 elves, they stack on one another, so it becomes a 2/2 elf. And when it dies, when it takes damage, it still keeps. It's not. You would think they would make it to where you could break it down. So, say in other words, you've got like five 1/1 flying creature tokens, and you deal so much damage to it, and you would think maybe, okay, well, it's going to lose its power too. because technically I just killed two of those creatures. But no, it still counts as one creature as far as battling goes. But say like there are some achievements that it wants you to get to either earn extra experience or gold. So that will say summon only two creatures. So if I summon, say, two of the same creature, that still counts as two summonings. Do you know what I mean? And then if I cast another one and I cast three, then I don't get that achievement. Because even though I only have two creatures on the board, I casted three. So it's a little more complicated as far as some of that system going, but to me that makes it where each turn and each card you play is really important because you have to strategize really well.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems pretty rad, dude. I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. I've been kind of wanting to check it out, but for one, the battery on my phone dies in like less than 2 hours now, and two, it's just ever since I got this new job as a fucking lube tech,
Yeah, you have
it's
that time.
yeah, dude. And whenever I do come home, like mid to late evening, I'm so exhausted that all I can, I'll eat like some dinner and then like take a shower and go to bed.
Yeah, yeah,
But
no doubt.
of course, like maybe walk a dog or something in between somewhere in there. But more or less, I feel like my as far as like being physical and moving about and doing new things, I'm sort of restricted right now because I'm bound to a work
Job.
position.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, on the schedule.
fucking job. It reminds me of the Swan Song job. Like job to job. Heartache to heartache. It's a very nihilistic song from the album Cops, but you know, uh, I don't know, man. I'm trying my best not to like look at it with a negative lens, even though it's like so in my face and like so easy to like kind of like gaze with the negative pierce. But at, on the same note, I'm trying to remind myself every day that I'm doing this for a noble cause. I'm following a higher calling. I'm working. It's a means to a means. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's
And there's nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, like I've had people like Victor who just don't. Eh. I know I bring up Victor sometimes too much, but answer to that, I don't talk to a whole lot of people. So but like there are just some things that Victor won't get, and I try to tell him that, like, I have anxiety and stuff, which prevents me from wanting to work, but I also have like, I guess that fear that that the government, why they lie to us and don't want us to know about things, so that we just keep our minds on the grind, go to work, to contribute to your society, contribute to your society. And honestly, that's part of my anxiety is, when I start getting in a job and I start thinking, man, I'm just feeding the machine, and I have to feed the machine in order to feed myself and clothe myself. But sometimes I get to a point where it's just, I get conflicted with myself because I feel like two different people. And the other person in me is like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this and working for money when we don't really need money? We need it to eat, but we don't want it to consume us. And especially when you have kids, it's like, well, you gotta have money to get them stuff and do stuff with them because you love them. You want to get your kids stuff. I got to see Scarlett yesterday because Jessica drove down here. I owed her $20, but I gave her 40 to help pay on her phone, and I gave her a few pain pills, and I hung out with Ivy. But I mean, so when you do that, like, it reminds you of why you're working and why you're doing what you're doing. Because I mean, you understand, man. I only have a couple friends who really understand when you have a kid. It, how you feel about yourself and money is completely different as how you feel about yourself and your money and your kids. And you want the best for your kids, so you try to remind yourself you're doing this for them, you're doing this for them. And sometimes I don't know. I'm not strong enough. I'm honest about it. I let my anxiety get to me. I let all the bullshit in the world get to me, and I just shut down. That's why I can't really blame Jessica for leaving me because she's got two daughters. Her sister and her mom works, and here she is. She's got me leeching off of her because I'm not working, and it becomes frustrating. And I've learned the hard way. It was really unfair for me to put all that on her. But at the same time, when things bother me, Anthony, I tend to ignore it. Like my car not running right now. I know I'm gonna get it fixed. I'm gonna get the money for the battery and stuff. It's just since since I can't run it and I can't do anything else to it, I haven't even opened my car door in weeks. I opened it yesterday, and it was the first time I went in there in like over a week and a half, just because it makes me sad. So I just try to avoid going in my car and messing with it. But I know I need to get in my car because I need to clean it. And those cans you gave me, I still have in my car because my car broke down shortly after that. So I don't know.
Dude.
It's just drama bullshit that adds up after a while.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have to do something about those cans, dude. For one, they're gonna stink, and two,
Yeah,
you're
no, they are stinking my car.
they're gonna attract ants eventually.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, dude. It's not good to keep fucking.
I combined it though with the cans I got from my sister because they don't have any kind of recycling thing out here. So my sister, I asked her, her husband he drinks a shit ton of Coke like me, and he always drinks cans, and their room is like littered with cans. So I asked her if I could have them, and my mom sometimes saves me cans. So I have a huge so the cans you gave me, plus the cans I collected when I was out here, I have one of those big, tall, clear plastic bags just full of cans.
Dude, that's
But
that's probably gonna nail you about $20-$25.
I doubt it. I'll probably only for this one bag, I'll probably only get maybe about 10, $12 if I'm lucky.
Well, hey, man, that's practically free money, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But still, it's still extra money.
It'll pay for about 6 gallons of gas right now.
Yeah, gas prices are shocking me, dude. How low they are. I mean, well, it trips me out because I'm in Humble, and like, okay, you know when you go to a gas station, if you pay with a card, it costs a little more,
Right.
and and especially in the Pasadena area, there all those gas stations are like Texaco and Gulf and all that, and Stripes. All those really make more money, or like their go-to for their gas is the cards. Preload money onto the card, and you save so many cents. And they don't really have a whole lot of those like that down here. So some of their gases is pretty ridiculously cheap when you use cash. Like this one place down the street, I think it's 194, and no, it's like 198, I think. And if you use the cash, if you just use cash, then the gas drops from 198 to 181.
Wow.
And yeah, that's a huge difference. I told my mom, I was like, I've never seen like a 10 cent difference with cash, let alone a little over 10 cents different with cash. In Pasadena and Houston area, it's all 3 cents. 3 4 cents you save if you use the card or something like that.
Yeah. Man,
But yeah, go on.
I was gonna say I thought it was illegal for places to tax you on using a credit card.
Uh, I don't know. I never heard that, but that
Yeah,
doesn't mean you're not right.
but I mean it's that's because every time like a business has to swipe a credit card, they have to pay like a certain amount, you know.
Yeah, they have to have fees.
And some places will straight up try to charge you that fee, you know, or mark your shit up to like compensate. Um,
Or a lot of them, which this is why I don't pay gas with a card anymore. A lot of them will, when you swipe your card for gas, will hold some of your money,
dude,
like
yeah,
for a certain amount of time, which can screw you if you didn't know that, and screws you twice as much if it costs you to swipe the card to begin with, because you could go over or go slightly negative only because they're holding back a little bit of money for a short period of time.
yeah, dude. The other day, I want to say it's about a month ago now, but I was coming back from this late night job interview. This was whenever I was still looking for a job, and I stopped at the Shell on Shaver, the new one that just got built over by Crenshaw, and you know, it's like 1 in the morning, dude, and I'm in the fucking, you know, I'm in the Monte Carlo. You know how the Monte Carlo is, dude. You got to fill it up from the rear, and
Yeah,
like I went a little too far, so I like reversed a little bit and kind of backed up at like kind of an angle.
yeah,
Then, you know, I was the only one there, so I assume the owner of the place, you know, some fucking you know, some fucking like I don't know, man. I don't know what to call him. Some fucking Muslim dude. Um, he fucking comes out and starts like kind of cussing me out, like giving me shit for the way the car is parked. And he's
are you
like,
serious?
yeah, man. He started like fucking harassing me about it. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to pump my gas, dude. You know, and
I'd
he,
be like, dude, my gas takes it in the rear. I can't. I don't know what you want me to do.
yeah, and no, I did say that, something along those lines. And then he was like, no, I need you to straighten this car out, man. You need to just, instead of reversing, you need to just, you know, drive around and repark it, because, you know, if a cop comes through here, you know, you're gonna get in trouble and you're gonna get me in trouble. And he was just like on my fucking ass, dude. Mind you,
You're
it's
not getting in trouble, dude.
one in the
What it
fucking
was,
morning, huh?
yeah, that's what I was about to say. What it was is it's because number one, you're in that car, and
That's what
already looks suspicious because, like I told you, I'd get cops that would follow me, and that one time I was blocked in by cops, they just assume that you're gonna do something, and so it's probably because the way the car is, the way the car looked, and the way you were parked, he was probably worried that you were gonna try to rob him and then burn off.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because I mean, it was like, don't get me wrong, it was kind of like, I mean, it was kind of half-assed, you know. But at the same time, it was 1 in the morning. Nobody was there. There was nobody even driving on the road. I didn't think like it was a big deal, you know. And
Yeah,
so I was, you know, I'll admit, you know, I was a little nonchalant about it. Anyway, so you know, I was like, after a while, I was like, whatever, dude. And I fucking got in the car and I fucking turned around and reparked it, you know. Got it just right, you know, to just to shut the dude up, you know.
yeah,
And I swiped the card, and and then I come to my senses. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this dude. I'm not gonna give him my fucking money. So I fucking hang up the pump. But my dumbass already swiped the fucking card, you know? And
yeah,
I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But, you know, I figured, you know, this dude was fucking on my ass, and I already have enough people on my ass on the daily as it is, and I'm not gonna I'll be goddamned if I have a fucking store clerk or corner store owner fucking give me shit about, like, you know, the way I'm parked. So
yeah.
I fucking hung it up and peeled out. Anyway, come to find out,
Somebody
the,
asked your gas.
no, nothing that bad, thank God. But I saw that the next day there was a pending $100 charge, so I thought that he was like trying to charge me $100 for, like, he was trying to tax me or something. But really,
Yeah,
come to find out, it was like
it
what
was
you said, that it was just a,
just a hold. Yeah,
yeah. And literally, robbed me of $100 for the whole fucking weekend because it was on like a Friday night, mind you. The whole fucking weekend, and I wasn't able to do a fucking thing because that was like pretty much the last money in the account, you know. And
Yeah, yeah, man, that's what sucks about that. And it's because I realize the way banks work. It doesn't matter how much money you have or put in there, but like even my sister was a couple hundred negative in her bank. So when she gets her next thing, it's gonna do that, and that's because they try to make the billing system easier for these automatic payments. But half the time, automatic payment doesn't go through, so you think you have more than you do. So you go and you spend it, or you do things, or you use your card certain ways, like with the gas, for instance. So say you got a bill that's supposed to be paid, and you know you got $5 on your card, but you end up going over and getting negative because that pending bill that you had set up in your account to automatically get paid goes through a process, and then you go swipe your card for $5 worth of gas, and you're negative $100 because they're holding, it's pending. So you've got all these two pendings, and then it pays you to swipe the card. And take in mind, you only have maybe $5 for gas, or you got $10 left, and you're gonna put $5 in there, and then you end up going in the negative because these pending charges that didn't go through, and you have automatic payment systems set up so that you don't have to worry about these kind of things like paying it and being late. But in the end, all these configurations of fees and what everybody does with your card, you'll always end up going negative every once in a while, just because something was pending for too long, or something that was supposed to go through did but it doesn't show up on your account. And then, like I said, if you have a card that pays to swipe, and you have the money to pay for that extra swipe, but because the gas people have $100 setback, and for whatever fucking reason they do that, that counts against you, and then you end up going negative, even if it's like $4 or $5. And that's how they get you, dude. Like that's how they literally fuck you at. They literally nickel and dime you to death.
dude, I feel like they're like trying to set you up for failure so that way you can like pay the
Yeah,
banks even more money in overdraft fees.
yeah. It's because they're learning. Everybody knows that the banks are what run everything and fuck everybody up. So, they gotta have to disguise it and have people work together, and that's how I feel, anyways. Especially with all these fucking, like I said, like these stupid pendings. I mean, I've only been here for like a month, and I've already seen that happen to my mom and my sister like so much, to where this payment didn't go through, and then the heat got cut off because something was pending for too long, and it said the money was there, but then the gas company didn't want to wait, or you know what I mean? They say, "Oh no, you had till today." And even though you had an automatic payment set up, and if for some reason the automatic payment didn't get set up, that's what happened to my mom's card. Or no, actually, that's how my sister's card went in the negative, because like with gas, electricity, sometimes you don't have to pay the whole bill. You can, they'll let you go by paying just a minimum amount and charge you more for it, but at least you're keeping, that utility on. And God, dude, it's just that the automatic payment didn't go through, and so my mom had called for my sister to pay that bill. And what ended up happening was, it was set up for a partial payment, and they ended up doing a full payment and in advance, and so it costed way more than what it was supposed to be, and made my sister go in the negative because the automatic payment didn't work. So because the automatic payment didn't work, and they called the lady, it's like she got screwed on top of one another. And I think that's ridiculous that they do that with these, with credit, with not, because they're not even credit cards anymore nowadays, Anthony. I mean, fuck, they're your bank card. You know, it's debit. Most people use debit. I don't even know anybody who has a credit card. I mean, if you have a credit card, well, that's awesome. More power to you. But it's like I've tried getting a credit card and it's damn near impossible. And I remember my sister. I remember my mom and my sister when I was young having like five, six credit cards and using one credit card to pay off the other and like having this delicate ecosystem of bill payments and I don't know, man. I don't feel like we were meant to do things like that and live and be with those frustrations. And I know I got to do something else though to make money. And I know it sounds stupid. It makes me sound like a kid, and it makes me sound like I'm rebelling just to rebel. But I don't know, dude. I don't have it in me. I get so paranoid at work. I get so stressed out about having to wake up in the morning. I psych myself out so bad, and then I think to myself, I'm only getting paid so much. Child support's eating half my check, and it just really drags you down, man. At least for me, like it really lowers my self esteem, and just I get so worried and confused that I can't deal with it, and I just end up walking away from the job after so many months.
Yeah. Shit. What was the last like official job you had?
When I worked at Weiss or whatever it was, WIC, and I was doing inventory. That wasn't too bad, but I
Wait,
honestly,
you were working at the WIC office?
no, not the WIC office. It's called like it was called Wise or something like that, but it was an anagram for something. But anyways, what I did was I'd go into stores like Macy's and the dollar store and basically go in there and scan every single item they have on the shelf. And obviously I didn't have to do that by myself. We broke up into teams, but you have to make sure you scan every single item that's in the store, and they have ways to making sure you didn't miss one because obviously their inventory has to match up with this. So then if yours doesn't match with theirs, they have to double check it and look at it, make sure you didn't miss something or it didn't get out of place, and
Wow.
basically that's how they do their inventory. Is they can see, okay, well, it it didn't get scanned, it didn't do this, it doesn't have a login for being sold, so that must be one of our stolen items.
That sounds like a big pain in the ass.
It is, but luckily we don't have to do all that. All we have to do is just the scan. But that was all we were doing. But I didn't mind that job, Anthony. I really didn't. I kind of enjoyed it. It's just the problem was it was around this time last year I was working, and half the time I'd have to go into work at 4. I have to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning because we'd have to meet at the place at HQ, which was across from Pasadena Mall, and then everybody had to show up, and we'd leave in those vans, like these big vans, and we'd drive off to like Kima or halfway downtown or further into a place to do inventory. But the cool thing about that was sometimes you'd go out of town, and if you go out of town, then they pay you, like, I think if you're in the car for say more than an hour, they pay you for being in the car, like, but it's half of what your regular pay is. So say like you have a 5-hour trip, the first hour there you don't get paid, but the rest of the 4 hours you get paid for just riding in the car. And the same thing goes on the way back. First hour back you don't get paid for, but any longer than that you get paid for having to travel. And if it's out of town, like they have some Louisiana jobs, and I tried to get into those, but that was all kiss ass. Like you'd have to like really know someone to do it. But anyways, when you do a job like that, they have you go do a job at night somewhere and then turn right around, drive to Louisiana, and they set you up with a hotel room and stuff, and they pay for that, and you're getting paid more for overnight, and they're paying you for a room, and you're getting paid for the ride there and back. because obviously it's more than an hour to get to Louisiana, and sometimes you drive all the way out there to Louisiana and say you have a small store that's like a Family Dollar. Well, that's only going to take like 3 hours. So then you drove all the way over there, did all that stuff for just 3 hours of work. But you got free room and board that night, and you got paid for just driving out there. So then it kind of balances out to you working, like, say, a 6 hour shift in a day or a 9 to 5. But the reason why I had to stop was because, dude, I'd have to be there 4 in the morning. I'd be done around 12 o'clock, and I'd go get in my car, drive to the library, and try to sleep. And there was no sleeping in that sun. And so I'd hardly get any sleep and be dead ass tired, and I couldn't keep that up anymore, man. And that's also how I got my kidney stone, because I found out when I was in the emergency room. It's a big common misconception that soda gives you kidney stones. Now, don't get me wrong; they do, they contribute, but not as bad as dehydration. So when I got my kidney stone and went to emergency room and I told them how I was living, she was like, "Yeah, it's not soda." She's like, she's like, "Yeah, it's not your soda. It's you sleeping in that car." Cause I'd wake up, dude, fucking drenched in sweat, and like since I was asleep, I wasn't moving, so I would literally like build up these huge pore, pore, sweat marks on my face and my body. So it would look like rain. It would look like rain had just hit me while I was asleep, and it was really just sweat. So that's why I quit that job. I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't wake up at 4 and try to sleep in the hot sun in the afternoon.
Damn, dude. That's So you're telling me you had a kidney stone then?
Yeah, I got one last year from sleeping in the car so much from because I got so dehydrated.
So did you have to like piss it out, or did they have to surgically remove it?
I had to piss it out, and to be honest, dude, I don't remember peeing it out. Well, because they said, dude, it was really painful, and I remember feeling it moving more and more down to like the area where it's supposed to be, to the point it got so bad, they were giving me some meds and stuff, and I remember I had sex and with Jessica, obviously, and then I thought to myself, I wonder if I passed it that way, because, well, honestly, because it didn't hurt as much after that, and I never ended up peeing it out and seeing it.
Yeah, crazy shit, dude. You're cracking me up.
I'm telling you, man, I just need to be a stand-up comedian, talk about my life. My mom sits on the couch. That's where she sleeps, and she has this water bottle it's a Febreze bottle that she emptied out and put water in, and she sprays the other cat that's down here and, from her couch. So I always think to myself, if I was just a comedian, I can work that into my act. Like my mom has a Febreze bottle that she uses to spray the cat. Well, my sister decided to add more Febreze to the bottle so that at least it would smell nice when she sprayed it, thus eliminating the point of emptying it to begin with and poisoning the cat.
God damn, dude. That doesn't even make any sense.
But it's funny.
It's damn funny, dude. I mean, spraying the damn cats with Febreze. I mean, that's just what happens whenever you have when there's a miscommunication. I've come to find, man, and that's a big fucking deal, dude. Is miscommunication because I mean, like if if there's no communication, man, it leaves room for a lot of error, a lot of misunderstanding, which can lead to like further misunderstanding and eventually a fallout.
Oh yeah, that's what happened with me and Jessica. I tried to tell her that, and well, let me pee real quick, and I'll finish what I'm saying because I was gonna show you what she sent me. Anyways, I'll be right back.
All right, dude.
AFK.
Word.
Alright. What are
Yeah,
you doing, weirdo?
yeah, dude. I'm just fucking making some noise. I figure, hey, it's filling the space, for the next full martyr.
Yeah. I just realized I can play Blood Omen while I talk to you.
Dude, you know what would have been cool if like you could look, man. We totally got to do this one day, but like maybe do like screen capture and it'll show what you're doing on your computer and it'll show what I'm doing on my computer. And like you could like either watch you playing like Blood Omen or
Yeah.
or watch
Or
me fucking doing whatever.
yeah, while you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, just to have like some sort of thing going on instead of like a still screen. I mean, the more we do this, the like it gets a little bit better each time
Yeah.
because now we're live streaming it instead of me like just like recording it offline and you
And
know
editing it. Yeah.
right making a fucking video of it and then uploading it. This is gonna be a lot easier. It's gonna be like this is going straight to YouTube. I've already got the video named and everything. I'm actually calling this webisode of the Two of
The
Wands because I have an app that basically gives me like a daily card, a daily tarot card. And
yeah.
today it's the Two of Wands, and the key words for it that you want to kind of like associate with the card is choice, potential, contemplation, threshold, and planning. So in a way, I'm already kind of starting to see it now because it's like, this conversation has been very contemplative. We've been talking about like, potential alternative situations and just potentiality in general within like, just existing and being. Planning, we're planning for like we're planning ahead as we're doing. We're talking about what we're gonna do later on in the future as far as the cast goes and as far as like our individual lives go.
Yeah.
Threshold, well, right now I'm kind of at a threshold with this like dead end job I have. And I've been talking about it a lot lately, man. It's just, I even told my other buddy yesterday, that, I could probably bear it a little better if I was getting paid at least double digits, but right now I'm making $8 an hour. So it makes it really hard to justify like continuing to go to work there, but, once
Yeah.
again, I'm trying my best not to like, cause it's so easy to like, just like, kind of fall into that mindset like as a default, man, because it's just, it is what it is, man, and there's no, I literally have to like be in denial in order to like ignore it. Anyway,
Oh yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. That's what I've been doing since I've been here. I've been in denial about a lot of things, and I, have ignored people's phone calls, and I have been neglecting to talk to Jessica, just to at least talk to the baby. And she drove up here yesterday for me to spend time with the baby. And I don't know. I even asked my mom, like, I feel like I'm getting mixed signals from her. I don't know. You remember my Misfit shirt?
yeah,
Um,
was she
well,
wearing it?
no, no, no. The one that said "Fiend for Life." You remember that one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we had gotten a fight some years back, and she ripped it,
Oh man.
and she found it, and she didn't even tell me, but she sewed it back, and she gave it to me yesterday. And
Whoa.
dude, you can't even tell it was ripped, and so I'm wearing it again. And I love this shirt, and I was so happy. And she's like, "I knew you would be happy." And I don't know. She does
That's
things like
fucking
that.
weird.
It's not weird. She does things like that, and then she says she doesn't want to be with me. And then she says she still loves me, but like I said, I I'm not doing nothing with my life right now. I'm barely getting by, and
Brother, you're healing, man. You're healing. You're in the fucking hyperbolic time chamber right now, all right?
I know, but it's at the same time I know I was leeching off of her a lot, and sometimes I push the people who help me, and I shouldn't, and I know I do. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like, come on, Jessica, let's do this. I'll do that, blah blah blah, and then I'm not able to fully do what I said I was gonna do, and she just started losing faith in me, and you can't really blame her for that, man. I mean, it's and plus, me being the way I am, I'm like two different people at once. So,
Well, look, time out. Let's pause on that and let me tell you what the message is of this card.
all right, yeah, tell me that. I kind of just ran off like
No,
that.
no, that's cool, man. You're giving input. You're responding to what I'm, and that this is what the cast is all about, man. It's like call and response, you know. So the message of this is to slow down. I mean, it ain't funny enough, you know. Slow down and consider your options today. You have amazing potential. Consider carefully how you want to use your time and energy. Don't go running after the first opportunity that comes along if it doesn't feel exactly right. Take your time. When this card appears in a reading, you are at a point where you have the power to choose. You are filled with creative force, and you have only to choose what you want to do with this opportunity before committing to a new direction. It is a time to look back at where you have come from and forward to where you want to go. You are not stuck with only one option. You do not need to do things the ordinary old way. You have the ability to create an original vision for yourself. Be brave, be bold, be true to yourself. Decide what path you want to take and then set one foot in front of the other. You have the
Yeah,
power within you to create your own destiny. Now, is that not positive or what?
yeah, it's positive.
So, so I mean, the Two of Wands, dude. That's the Two of Wands for you. Yesterday, my card of the day was, I think it was like the Nine of Wands or whatever. It was some shit like that, but or maybe even the 10. But it was this one seems a little bit more positive. It seems a lot more hopeful. Whereas yesterday it was like you're basically gonna run into obstacles, but just continue to maintain your strength. Whereas today it's like, hey, you can pretty much do anything you want. You just gotta pick a direction and follow your nose. So I
Yeah,
mean, maybe in a way it's like kind of speaking to you too, man. This is just the card of the day. It's not necessarily my card. I mean, of course I drew it, but it's like supposed to represent like the card that represents the day itself.
yeah,
So so that's why I'm calling this episode of the Two of Wands, because I feel like what we're covering I mean, it's already like manifesting itself, man. We're talking about like our struggles, our anxieties, hell, even our fears, and things that are like showing resistance in our lives. But we're also like talking about like overcoming those things and transcending them, and even though that we may meet like I guess speed bumps along the way, there's still some sort of reflection of some sort of hope, like just for instance, your baby mama coming and giving you that shirt, that she sewed up for you. Like, dude, honestly, if she hated your guts, she would have just threw it away, dude. Like, straight the fuck up, But she like took time and sewed it. Took time to drive all the way to Humble. I mean, I know it's not that far, but it's a good like what 25, 30 minute drive. And
yeah. Well, see, don't read too much into the drive. I mean, I gave her $40 and 5 pills, so that's why she drove out here. But I mean, I think to really look at it more, I asked her if she'd come out here again next Wednesday because my nephews just went back with their dad. They're supposed to be with their dad all this month,
who,
and
Joe?
Yeah, they're supposed to be with Joe all this month, and I've been busy moving some stuff or doing something, so they've been
Yeah.
they've been kind of hopping back and forth for a couple, you know what I mean? Like be here for 2 days when he has something to do, and then go back with him. And she just missed her nephews yesterday. They left Tuesday, and they'll be back Tuesday. So if Jessica actually drives up here Wednesday, I can, play with my daughter some more and her nephews. Cause
Well, look,
I love my nephews, man. They're fun, and I shot fireworks with them on the 4th of July and let them light some, which uh, you know,
there,
their mom and dad don't let them do that, but their uncle lets them do it. So
there you go. That's see, you're living the dream, dude. I mean, you're getting like that's like a. I didn't even pop fireworks this year, dude. So I mean, that's like that's pretty cool. It's really positive, and it's optimistic because look, man. I mean, I understand that there was like some sort of like a enticing bait for your baby mama, but at the same time, dude. I mean, even despite that, she was getting an overabundance in fucking cash and fucking party favors. She still took time to sew your shirt, man, and give it back to you. Like that that right there tells me that there's a sparkle of hope. I'm not sure if you care to like pursue that, but I'm just saying I could see it, and that would give me faith. But at the same time, yeah, a lot of women what they like to do is they like to like carrot on a stick, ex boyfriends or ex husbands or whatever, baby daddies. Like like kind of put a carrot on a stick and then you go and reach for it and then they pull it back a little further,
yeah,
just kind of like, and really it if it's that, that it's kind of like manipulative, but I mean that I can say honestly though, man, it seems like a sweet, it's pretty sweet of her to do that for you,
yeah. Well, look, let me read this to you. I was gonna send it to you through Messenger, but since we're using Messenger to talk, I don't know how to do that. But look, she sent me this, and it's a horoscope for relationships, and it's my sign and her sign, which she said it doesn't. She said I read this and I thought it was funny because it describes our relationship. She said it describes our dating relationship perfectly. It says Gemini partner is very opinionated, and Libra has a tendency to take a lot of their partner says as personal insult, which that's explained what I've told her a lot, which is you always say everything I take you always take everything the wrong way I say, and then it says although Gemini will in most case just follow their rational nature and comment on things simply because they want to talk, it will be hard on a Libra to overcome some of the things they might say, which is also true for things that I say and get opinionated about. And it says the sign of a Libra is very sensitive to any sort of will imposing or criticism and will recognize it even when Gemini has no idea what their partner is imagining. Who's to say which one of them is right? Since two people can agree on everything, yes, since two people can agree on everything every time each of them opens their mouth to speak, Gemini and Libra can have a very hurtful and tough communication due to the mutual lack of tolerance. Gemini partner would rather go blind than accept that they have a lack of tolerance, which I would say is kind of true for me. But the truth is, they can be quite strict when it comes to someone's mental activity and their opinions. Now that's spot on about me. And then it says Libra is in most cases hurt enough by the pressure on their personality produced in their primal family, so they will have a very bad. Damn it, let me see what. Very bad. I gotta zoom out of this. Is what it is. Yeah, okay. La la la. Gemini meant nothing. Primal family. They will have a very bad response to this behavior, even if Gemini meant nothing wrong. Which that is a lot of cases when we talk and communicate. She takes something the wrong way and it gets really hurtful, and I don't understand it, and it leads to a lot of conflict between us. It says the main issue here is in the fact that Gemini lives to learn and teach what they have learned. They often present themselves as someone who knows all things, which I don't think I come off that way sometimes, but I do a little. And Libra can see this as their need to improve their intellectual dominance. Even though this isn't their intention, in most cases, sometimes single sentence Gemini said can be something Libra feels hurt by. For years to come, Libra can learn from a teacher, from someone who has proven their worth, but hardly from their know it all partner. Which, and that is true too, in the fact that when I tell her something's wrong, or this is happening, she won't believe it until she hears it from someone else.
Oh.
So, I mean, but when I read that, I don't think she really sent that as a negative thing. But when I read it, I don't know. My take on it was that kind of relationship is just harder and you have to work on it. Because it doesn't say that that's a bad relationship. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't usually believe in horoscopes or any, kind of bullshit like that. But I mean, her giving me that, it just makes me feel like, yeah, that's kind of obvious. Uh, Relationships are hard, and it just seems like those two types would have a little harder time communicating, which me and Jessica do have very hard time communicating. And I don't know, I'm talking about her too much. I know I am, but I can't. I can't help it. And I don't know. I always I probably shouldn't, but I can't help it. I always ask her if she's talking to somebody or seeing somebody. And I know that's not good for me to always do. But she's been telling me no, she's not. But at the same time, I kind of feel like she would lie to protect my feelings, which then makes me more conflicted as to her lying to protect my feelings or lying because she thinks that I'll stop seeing my daughter, which I wouldn't. I just probably wouldn't talk to Jessica as much as I do. Like, I messaged her last night because I called her at 9 o'clock. I told the baby and her I'd call them so I could say goodnight to the baby. I called and she didn't answer, and it was 9 o'clock. And me, worst case scenario things always run through my mind. I can't help it. And what sucks is I've tried to tell her that, but then when I tell her that, she gets mad at me thinking that. Like, I can't help, even if it's some off the wall crazy thing, like, oh no, she didn't answer and she did this and she's close to here. I feel like she's cheating on me to do this and that, even though I'm just connecting dots that aren't there. And I know that, but I don't realize that till after I've already done that. So then I psych myself out and get upset and mad over something I can't guarantee is happening. It's just something I thought of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very conflicting with myself even because it's stupid to get so upset over something that's not happening, but in my mind I thought about it with so much detail so quickly that emotionally it emotionally upsets me, and I tend to carry out that emotional frustration and sometimes take it out on her or anyone who's near me. And I'm not a know-it-all. I don't, but going to that psych ward for a little bit helped me out, and doing some of those study groups kind of helped me think a little more about my actions and other people's actions. And it's just really hard because Jessica's wanted to hold a grudge for a long time, and I don't know. I've been trying not to think about it, Anthony, and just like same thing with my car, I've been trying to think about it. I know I just have to wait till a certain time this month when my mom gets her money and save up some blood money and fix my car. And then that kind of makes me sad, because I don't want to get too used to being here, but then again, I don't want to disassociate myself from my family so much while I'm here. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to neglect my family just because I'm upset about knowing that I have to eventually leave. So,
Hey man, well you know what? On a high note, you are I mean, it's not like you're trying to stay there. You know, it's not like you're trying to be burdensome. You're honestly trying to like get out of there really as soon as you can. But the fact that shit's happening to where like you have to make a sacrifice of like the money that you were gonna use to like repair your vehicle and instead help out your brother-in-law. If anything, that's going to reflect on you, man, and he's going to appreciate that and not mind your presence. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying it's kind of bittersweet because like I understand that you don't want to be a burden, but at the same time, like you're actually being kind of a help, man. You know, your presence is helping because like you're there with your family, you're with your mom, your sister, your brother, your nephews, you're you're helping out in the way that you can, and like you're being more of a blessing than you are like kind of like dead weight. So I mean, like, take it as like I would look at it as like kind of like a reward or a blessing, like that you're able to stay over there a little longer. And I mean, you like we've said earlier, like it beats sleeping in the car in the middle of the summer, So I mean, really, it's like everything does kind of happen for a reason, man. And I'm not even using that as a cop out, I'm glad to hear you're at least like underneath the roof.
yeah, I know. I feel the same way too. It's just you know me, Anthony. It's just hard to not see the downside when even if I don't have any reason not to see the downside, I always do, and it just becomes a problem sometimes, and I don't know, man. I feel stupid because, like I've told you before, I'm in a position that I think a lot of guys would love it. Well, you know what I mean? Like having kids and not having the burden of having to have them around. But I don't. I want my kids around, And if you had asked me 6 years ago, I would still tell you that I want to put everything I have and do into music. But if Jessica called me up and said that she would be willing to take me back, and I just had to do this and that, I would completely throw away my dream of music in any sense just to have that family back, because what it's like having family of your own, not just like your mom and your dad and your brother, but having a family of your own is completely different, man. And it's it sucks to lose it, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it would kill me just to have whenever I was like an over the road truck driver to be gone for like days or even weeks at a time. Like that little bit of time away would kill me, man. So I can only imagine how you feel, dude.
Yeah, to me, to me, this is twice now. You know what I mean? I fucked up the first time, and I fucked up again, and it's just like that's why I put a lot of people don't understand, or I'd say a lot of closed-minded people don't understand why I put Lynn's name on my neck. And I did it after I knew we were breaking up, and it was a reminder, to me, and a warning to others. I've done this, I've tried it, I've failed. If I do it again, I need to not fuck it up. And I didn't even heed my own warning, and did the exact same thing to Jessica that I was doing to Lynn at the end of our relationship, which was pushing her away and ignoring conversations and just focusing on myself to not think, to either get high and not worry about the fact that I have nothing to eat or that I have to sleep in a hot car and just ignore the whole world and everything. And when I checked myself into that psych ward, it kind of gave me a break from the heat in the car to think a little more clearly on my actions. And I don't know, like that's what I've been trying to focus on more is really what I need to do and where I need to go with it. And the first thing I got to do is my car. And I've got the time, and since I don't have to worry about giving blood to make money, I took this week off. I haven't donated any blood this week, and I'm not going to. But I need to next week. I need to keep doing it so I can save up the money because since I'm here, I don't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I don't have to worry about using that money for food. Like I can literally just hang on to it all. And dude, like I don't even know what to do with money anymore, Anthony. When I get it, like I was gonna get my other phone at a pawn, but Jessica's phone got cut off, and she has a line for her and Emma, which is her other daughter. And I told her I'd help her pay it because I still had owed her. I'd owed her $20 before I came out here, and I went ahead and gave her $40 and 5 pills just because I wanted her to know I care and that I want to help. You know, she's helped me for so long and fed me for so long, and you know, it's just I've I've taken it for granted, and I don't want to do that no more. And sometimes some things are a little too late. It takes me a long time to register things, Anthony. Like even if I know I shouldn't, if I get irritated at something, I shouldn't open my mouth about it because it's not my business, and it causes a fight, and I'm like, okay, don't talk about that, or don't come off so negatively next time that topic comes up. But for me, I can't. It's like it's not a switch. I can't just not respond like that immediately. Do you know what I mean? Because it becomes such a reflex. Because I am opinionated and I like to argue for the sake of arguments, and I love to argue semantics. That a lot of times I do it as a reflex. I don't even mean to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. I mean, you can't help who you are either, you know? I mean, you could try all you want to modify your behavior, I've come to find, but it's like, eventually you're gonna slip up and the real you is gonna show. And that's not a bad thing, man. It just means that you're genuine. That means that you're you, and you're not something that isn't you, even if you try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And dude, like really, I I wouldn't beat myself up too much over that, man. I mean, you can't help who you are, man. I mean, you can only do so much to like really modify your own behavior, but like, you're you. At the end of the day, So and I wouldn't really like look at it as like a weakness or anything, man. If anything, it's a strength because like a lot of people don't even know who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
And they think that just if they can imitate someone else or imitate some character off of TV or something that they're gonna get ahead and they're gonna be somebody, but really that's only gonna take you so far because it's like you're limited. You're limited on your identity, whereas you're the authentic you. So I mean, it just boils down to the simple fact that hey, if another person can't accept you for who you are, then really is it even worth it? But at the same time, I think your recent baby mama, Jessica, I think if anything, man, I think she's kind of slowly coming to terms with, who you are and what that means to her. And, I think I kind of get a vibe that she's like kind of warming up to you again, dude. Just because it's like, I mean, like, even if she is like talking to other dudes or even dating or whatever, like all that's gonna do is give her another perspective on like men, like it could like for all you know, like if she is doing that, I know that it probably bothers you to even think of her doing that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just speaking in hypothetical terms. I'm saying hypothetically speaking, even if she was doing that and it turns out like it was a negative experience, all that's gonna do is make you look better and make her realize more like maybe you weren't all that bad because it's gonna give her like more input. It's gonna give her more information on, on judge of character and the fact that you're staying loyal, you're staying faithful, and you're not trying to replace her immediately. You know, I mean, you're probably maybe keeping your options open, but maybe you're not. I mean, who wouldn't? What single parent wouldn't? But like you're doing what you got to do, and you're still being like you're trying to be helpful in the way you can, and the fact that you're at least giving a damn enough to show like that bit of effort, I think it goes a long way, and I'm pretty sure she's noticing, man. And if she isn't, she's a dumbass, plain and simple. But it's not. That's not to like attack her as a woman. That's to attack the notion of like a dumbass. Like you either see someone like loving you or you don't. And if you can't see it, then that's not that's their problem. You know what I mean? That's not your problem,
Yeah.
brother. You're doing all you can in the way you know how, and I don't think that's a bad thing, Blaine.
Well, it's also too like I learned in when I was in the rugs topography to speak. It helped me see things from I guess like her perspective, which is also I have my down times and my bad times, and sometimes my down times can last for months. And they said sometimes if you hurt a relationship and you act a certain way, you give this notion, you put out this vibe of who you are to this person, and even if you start changing your way you act and way you are, sometimes they can't get that image of you that you have burnt into their brain away, whereas to me I flip the script constantly with my behavior and things. And you know, my family's dysfunctional just like anyone else. We'll holler and scream at each other one minute, next minute we're sitting down eating dinner together like nothing just happened. And to her, she's not used to that. And for me to do that and then expect her to just snap out of it like me is unfair. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I've kind of put this persona of I've forced this persona of myself onto her to where she doesn't think I'm that guy who she fell in love with anymore. And you can't blame her for that because it's true. I did act like that for so long that that she can't get that image of me out of her mind anymore, and she may never be able to see me any other way. And that's my fault, for acting the way I was acting and ignoring everything and just ignoring her warnings and her heatings, and ignoring myself and ignoring everything around me. And it sucks sometimes, because especially when you get into a deep depression like that, you don't realize how much damage you've done until you snap out of it.
Yeah. Um. No, I could definitely see that, Blaine. It's just it's a learning experience, man, and not just for you, but for her. I mean, she's just gonna have to either come to terms with who you are and decide that she loves you anyway, or decide that, hey, maybe she does love you, but you're just not, you're not ideal for her or whatever, and that's okay, man. She's allowed to do that, I guess. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody has freedom to be who they want to be and who they want to be with, and it's like, it maybe it took this for you to kind of step out and look in the mirror, and it seems like you're very knowledgeable and reflective on like kind of what's transpired, and maybe some things that you were doing that seemed a bit destructive, but at least it's giving you the opportunity to like notice that. Some people never notice their own faults, man. You know, and they just stay that way. Whereas now that you notice them, and now that you can recognize your own patterns, you can modify them, or like know what you got to do, like as a preventative measure. If, it's something that you maybe can't modify. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just talking to you, man. Just talking to you this go around. You seem like a lot more. You seem a lot more centered.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of time in myself to just dive into me, I guess, and I don't know. I got in. I sent you one of those songs from the Giraffes. I got into them like years ago, and when I heard of them is when Eagles of Death Metal came out, and I saw them live, and I liked them so much I got their first album, and then I didn't really hear much on them, and so it's been like damn, Ivy wasn't even two yet. So it's been like 8 years since I saw them live, and I looked them up again. They have new songs and stuff, and that's why I sent you that song. And anyways, I'm talking about that because a lot of times playing guitar or music helps me meditate and think better and reflect on myself. And I've just dove in so deep into the Giraffes because some of their songs, dude, especially on their new albums, it speaks so much truth. But he has such a unique voice, and I like the guitar player because he reminds me of the way I keep trying to play guitar in a band, which is as long as the drums go with it, you can do anything. And I think that the Giraffes are like a perfect example of that, dude, because you have the singer who has an amazing singing style. You have a guitar player who likes to go all over the place, but it still works. So you know what I mean? His voice still works with that guitar playing, and the drums just do nothing but complement the thing. Oh, hold on, man. Let me give me a few minutes because something just happened and I need to restart the computer.
All right, man. Sounds good. I'll give you a few. Just call me back on here.
All right, I will.
All right.
All right, intermission.